Hai, Anda menyaksikan Sedang Viral bersama saya Gracia Berntobing. Teman-teman, salah satu topik yang masih menarik dibahas saat ini adalah soal kasus judi online yang berkembang menjadi salah satu kejahatan siber terbesar di Indonesia dengan aliran dana miliaran rupiah setiap harinya. Ini yang akan menarik untuk kita bahas seperti apa pola kejahatan ini dan bagaimana dampaknya untuk Indonesia. Kami sudah hadirkan Richard Steinings, pakar keamanan siber dari Universitas Denver, Amerika Serikat. We're going to discuss about this with Richard Steining, Chief Security Strategist at Sailera. Thank you for joining us at Liputan and SCTV, sir. So, in Indonesia, online gambling has grown into one of the biggest cyber crimes with billions of rupees flowing through it every day. From a global perspective, how do you feel this type of criminal business model and what factors make it so difficult to eradicate?
Well, firstly, I mean, cybercrime is a transnational criminal enterprise, right? And online gambling doesn't respect national borders. We see criminals operating across cyberspace, across multiple legal jurisdictions where they can ply their craft. Secondly, we're seeing a lot of online gambling casinos used in a way to launder criminal enterprise money and to sanitize that money for re-entry into global economies. So this is a huge challenge for us, and it's one that's only getting worse, unfortunately, because we haven't really come to terms with how big the problem is. In Indonesia's terms, I think the number I saw was 340 billion rupiah being attributed to this crime. So this is a very, very large amount of money, and it's very, very lucrative to criminals that play in this space.
Okay, so we have this data, Interpol data in 2024 recorded more than 5,000 arrests related to illegal online gambling operations across 28 countries, sizing approximately 59 million US dollar. How do these online gambling syndicates use digital technology to operate across borders? What do you think about it?
Well, the internet is ubiquitous, right? The internet is everywhere. It's transnational, and it's very easy for crime syndicates to set up an online gambling casino, to render that casino in multi-languages. So the very same image can be rendered in Bahasa, it can be rendered in English and German and French and Chinese, Italian, you name it. And at the same time can generate revenue from those online casinos. Now, they don't have the same levels of efficacy that a traditional casino might have. So those individuals that embark upon online gambling may well be purposely being defrauded out of their earnings. They may receive free gambling money as an incentive in order to join that casino. They then experience large wins, which makes them lulls them into a false sense of security. They then invest their own money into that casino account, but then they find it very, very difficult, if not impossible, to pull any of that money out and to return it to cash because of the criminal way that these systems are being set up, and the fact that they are unregulated and obviously not set up in a way for legal gambling, where legal gambling exists.
Okay, so here in Indonesia, online gambling related money laundering cases amounted to 530 billion rupees in this year, 2025, involving shell companies and nominee accounts to cash out gambling proceeds. How significant is the role of money laundering in sustaining online gambling networks?
It is huge. It is huge, and it's not just the gambling that is the money generator. The main emphasis of a lot of these online casinos is to launder criminal money that is extorted through ransomware attacks, through other extortion schemes, through people trafficking, and a whole load of other criminal enterprises, and to sanitize that money, to clean that money before it can be used again. So gambling serves as a fantastic mechanism for these criminals in order to launder money and embark upon other criminal enterprises.
Okay, so Sir, Interpol's Operation Soga X uncovered human trafficking victims inside online gambling hubs, showing a link between forced labor recruitment and cybercrime. Some of the victims included Indonesian nationals. How are online gambling operations connected to human trafficking in Southeast Asia?
Yes, so
Mm.
a lot of the human traffickers um, are um, are using online gambling in order to leverage trafficked individuals that may have language abilities. They're also leveraging trafficked individuals that can be used for various types of fraud. One particular fraud that is very common across the world is called pig butchering, where an individual may be approached by someone online who manifests themselves as someone totally different, who may in fact be locked up in a facility being exploited by traffickers, and they
Mm.
are then extorted out of vast sums of money through romance fraud, through online investment fraud, and a whole load of other fraudulent mechanisms. And those are all tied back to the casinos, which then launder that money and make it impossible to recover that money.
Okay. So I would like to talk more about this, talking about what happened in Indonesia. Online gambling platforms often target the lower middle class. I see what happens, a lot of cases here in Indonesia about that. Is there a global pattern, do you think, what that suggests is vulnerable group is a primary target for cyber syndicates, and how can we effectively protect them?
Yes, so I think the criminals are
Mm.
going after a lot of poorer peoples in the world,
Yeah.
particularly younger people that may be lulled into fake job opportunities. They are then given tickets to fly to certain parts of the world where these casinos, where these operations are run. And once they get there, their passports are taken from them and they're unable to leave. Um, it's not just Indonesians that are being targeted with this. We're seeing, Cambodians, Thais,
Yeah.
Filipinos, particularly those with language abilities that have
Hmm.
some level of education. So a lot of young graduates, for example, perhaps are being pulled into this with promises of large amounts of money that they can then send home, and can obviously build their own personal wealth. But it doesn't turn out that way, unfortunately.
Mm. Are there any major lessons from other countries that have been relatively successful in surprising online gambling? And can those strategies can be adapted to Indonesian context?
Absolutely, yes. And we're seeing a global emphasis upon shutting down a lot of these human trafficking centers, around a lot of these scam call centers, and the online gambling casinos that are attached to
Hmm.
them. We've seen some of these, or a large number of these, operate in hinterlands between jurisdictions, between along national borders.
Hmm.
And we've seen international law enforcement be very active in apprehending and releasing those who are involved in this, in this scheme.
Thank you, Richard, for your explanations. We are very happy to hear it from you. And thank you again for joining us in Liputan SCTV. Dan teman-teman Liputan itu tadi wawancara kami bersama dengan Richard Steinings, pakar keamanan siber dari Universitas Denver, Amerika Serikat, yang juga merupakan Chief Security Strategist at Celera. Kalau boleh saya sedikit menyampaikan apa yang dijelaskan oleh Richard terkait dengan apa yang terjadi terkait dengan judi online ini. Ternyata judi online bukan hanya dirasakan atau dialami oleh Indonesia, tapi juga negara-negara lain di Asia Tenggara termasuk adalah Kamboja, dan akar permasalahannya memang dimulai dari bagaimana struktur sosial di masyarakat dan juga kemampuan masyarakat dalam menerima informasi dan pendidikan. Inilah faktor-faktor yang juga membentuk bagaimana persepsi masyarakat terkait dengan judi online tersebut. Ini yang menarik selanjutnya untuk kita lihat ke depannya bagaimana pemerintah Indonesia bisa mengentaskan permasalahan judi online. Dan teman-teman Liputan 6, jangan lupa saksikan informasi dan wawancara kami lainnya di Sedang Viral Liputan 6 CTV. Saya Gracia Ben. Sampai jumpa.